Welcome to Tag Talks. We dive into the media technologies here today. Today, we're focused on the Asia Pacific region, what's resonating with our customers, and what challenges they're facing today. And so, Ivan, welcome. You just wrapped up an intensive trip across Australia, parts of Asia, with Kevin Joyce, our COO, as we affectionately call him, our ZFO, or Zero Friction Officer. Before we dive into any specifics, tell us what were your biggest takeaways from these meetings this these past few
Okay.
weeks.
Hi, Paul. Well, yeah, thanks very much for having me. It's great to be here and to talk about these questions that you've got for us. So the trip was great. Yeah, I had a really good time spending time with Kevin and visiting a variety of our customers across Australia, and then we popped over to Singapore to see a few more customers there. So yeah, we had a really good time, and I really enjoyed getting in front of the customers and just having like really good general open discussions.
You definitely saw some of the biggest names in media companies out there in Australia, right, and across in Singapore for that matter.
Yeah.
Um, how do these companies approach their broadcast monitoring and their OTT workflows, uh, if at all, differently from other regions, or is there anything specific about your region
Well, I
there?
think we were working with some of the biggest customers, biggest media customers, tier one customers, and a lot of the time they're very sophisticated. So, for example, in Australia here, our OTT platforms have been available for a number of years. The teams that run and build them are very knowledgeable, very advanced. So they look at ways of simplifying like their workflows. Basically, workflow complexity can be difficult because there's a number of different moving parts, and if they're able to remove those barriers, then that makes their life easier. One of the big things that a lot of these customers are doing, yes, they're providing OTT services, but these OTT services, might be part of their wider offering. So that might start as a normal linear TV channel, and then they're delivering OTT over the top. So sometimes these customers need to do their OTT monitoring, not just at the OTT level, but all the way through their different workflows, all the different applications from production, playout, distribution, contribution, OTT. So it's across the board.
So, what what kinds of questions or concerns did these customers raise most frequently?
Well, there are slight differences in the different countries and regions that you go to. They have similar but different challenges. For some of the bigger customers, removing operational burden and the workflow complexity is a big one. So we have very advanced users that are able to use our API and build out customized workflows that enable their operations teams to become really efficient by taking away a lot of manual work that they would previously have done.
Yeah, and I was actually reading some of the trip reports from you and Kevin. So they certainly have a unique mix of some legacy infrastructure and some do have some IP workflows already. But how do you approach those discussions with the customers who are still heavily invested in SDI or some of the
Yeah.
traditional workflows?
Thanks for that question, Paul. I think we'd go back to the very first thing I said about how we approach customer conversations. We really want to understand, what our customers are doing, how they're working, what their pain points are, and then we work backwards from that to see where we can add value. And I think um, the ability to be flexible, to be able to adapt to like the pace of change. Some of these customers need to move quickly sometimes. So we're able to do that because the platform that we offer is super flexible. We can take any input, broadcast format input, and push that to any output for our mosaics. but we can also do compressed and uncompressed at the same time. We can give our customers the option of buying like commercial off-the-shelf hardware. So no longer are they tied to buying bespoke SDI equipment, which has bespoke prices as well. Or we are flexible. We can run on-premise, hybrid, in the cloud. The flexibility is there. And then on top of that, when they're talking about optimizing for business enablement, we're able to deliver efficiencies through our costing. We offer OPEX and CAPEX, a mixture of both. So we're able to give our customers a lot of choice when they're thinking about moving from their traditional workflows through their IP transformation.
Yeah, I think one of the other things that I think about when you're talking about flexibility is really the the platform that we offer is built on our own API, right? So there was another tidbit I saw in those trip reports where one of the customers was using our API in a very unique way. You want to talk about that at all, or?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was a fantastic customer meeting because I wasn't aware. I've just recently joined Tag. This is I'm into my 5th month now, so I'm learning about our customers
You're
and
an old
how
timer at
they.
5 months.
Yeah,
Okay,
indeed.
go.
Yeah, so I'm learning about their use cases and how they use Tag to solve complex problems. And one of our customers has integrated our API with Slack, so they have a Slack channel, and they can write one sentence, and this sentence identifies the channel they want to monitor, and then a few keywords on what specifically they want to monitor. They send that Slack message in, and within 10 seconds, the whole Multiviewr wall's built out and it's running and it's displaying the correct channel. Now, that has just removed so much operational work for their team. It just shows how flexible and how innovative our customers are when using our product. So I think that was my favorite piece of use of Tag so far. Someone driving the Multiviewr through Slack. It's amazing.
That's pretty wild. What do you think other broadcasters could learn from them by doing that? I mean, is it
Well,
easy?
well, yeah. I think the customer we're talking about, they're an established customer. They're very sophisticated, and they've got a really good mix of like broadcast engineers who know the broadcast world inside out, and IT engineers, and they work really closely together. And a little bit of a little bit of their skill sets are, they're cross pollinating, so they're learning. And because the API is published and it's easy to access, and because you can do everything with the API. We don't hide anything. Every function is available there. You can really build whatever you want. We have customers that build out the whole UI that they want to drive the Tag platform just using our API and building their own UI for its use. So there is, I would say, there's a small learning curve there, but for most of our customers, that learning curve, they're already used to dealing with APIs and driving systems programmatically. So I think to be able to do this wouldn't be too much of an ask for them.
Yeah, there's another good example I can mention here since we're talking about the API. Is this one major tier one customer is actually using it to allow operators, whether they're working from home or a remote, could be an operator or an engineer, they're just drag and dropping mosaic tiles onto to create their own mosaics that they want to view
Yeah.
what's important to them. So it's very, it seems very easy to use. I'm not a technical guy,
No,
highly
I
technical
think it
anyway, but
is. That's one of our key points, Paul. The ability to use our platform. It's intuitive. Yeah, we have great documentation, and it's available for our customers. But 9 times out of 10, they're able just to build what they want intuitively. One of the messages that I also heard from our many visits is that through the pandemic a few years ago, lots of people had to work from home, and our Tag multi-viewing system and our probing platform could be controlled by engineers and operators from their home
Hmm.
because we're IP based. We can deliver that mosaic and the alarms to where you are, and you can control everything from where you are. So it gave people the real flexibility to maintain their quality of service, deliver a fantastic service to their customers, but not sacrifice, you
Hmm.
know, their operational needs either, because they could have everything at their fingertips at home.
Yeah, you mentioned IP. I mean, we're definitely IP native, but you definitely from one of the trip reports, I'm remembering now that one of them is just starting and underway with an IP transition, right? So moving to fully software based control rooms, right? So what do you what do you see their biggest challenge, technical challenge might be, and what's the opportunity for Tag to help them?
Well, I think because they're moving to complete IP workflows, that gives them the ability to, I think, and they're working in diverse locations, and that IP infrastructure gives them the ability to do that. So having a consistent way of, monitoring their video feeds, probing and alerting and being informed when things are happening can be a challenge to be able to do that and map that across various different locations. Um, the ability for them to really lean on our experience. Our platform allows customers to have remote locations anywhere. We can have them in different buildings in the same city. We can have them in different parts of the country. We can have installations that span ground and cloud or across the world. And it really allows our customers to be completely flexible in how they use and deploy their monitoring and probing.
Cool. Yeah. So speaking, so not only did we meet with customers, right? You, not me, you and Kevin. You met with prospects as well, right? So you had a very interesting meeting with a prospect that was had a lot of questions for us, right? So
Yeah.
could you tell us what was what excited them most about Tag, and what we could help them do with their
Well,
workflows?
yeah, thanks, Paul. I mean, this is a great question as well because we're talking about prospects, someone or an organization that are aware of Tag, but may not necessarily understand what we do. And there's a really old like conception in the past that Tag is just a multi-viewing company, and I think that stems from that when the company was launched, that's exactly what we concentrated on, visualizing things up on a multi-view for people to use. But when you get into these conversations with these prospects, and you're just having a general discussion about their workflows, and the features that we have that might be able to help them out, you can see a light going on. The customer that we're talking about, they have a couple of very smart engineers in the room, and as we started talking about the different features and functionality that we can provide them, you could see their thinking. You could see they're running things through their minds, and then they started coming up with questions. Can it be done? Can we deploy the system to do this? Can we manage that? And you could really see they were thinking about all the different problems they needed to solve, and if we could help them do that. So that was really exciting because we got to have a really good back and forth discussion about some technical aspects. And then leading on from that, we definitely started a good relationship there. And there was some trust gain because as soon as we finished that conversation, we got a telephone call asking for some demo licenses to run a POC. So yeah, right now they're working their way through all their different problems to see how we can support them.
Hmm. Yeah, speaking of opportunities, there was this one meeting I noticed in the trip report that it could be probably one of the larger opportunities in your region. And what's your take on how to approach such a large scale opportunity? Talking
Yeah.
about scalability, right? I mean,
Well, thank you for the question, Paul. I think the situation you're talking about is very exciting because it's actually a company that's moving buildings. So they're moving to a brand new site. It's a greenfield site. They're starting from scratch. And what's really exciting about this is that they're putting monitoring first. They're monitoring needs first. That means that it informs how they think about building the whole end-to-end workflow. So they're talking about their production workflows. They're talking about their playout, contribution, distribution, OTT, and how does the monitoring platform fit into all these different silos. Now, that's really exciting for us because, as I said before, we're very flexible. We are able to manage compressed and uncompressed, any flavor of broadcast video that you need to manage. And, our workflows can be tailored to fit your particular needs. So I suppose, given that this is a brand new installation, we have the opportunity to show the customer that we can be in all of these different traditional silos: production, playout, distribution, contribution, including OTT. We can be in each of those silos, but actually bring them all together and have them managed under one umbrella. And that will bring some really good operational efficiencies across that company's technical resources, where everyone's knows how this platform works, and they can use that throughout their glass to glass workflows.
You bring up a good point, Ivan, because some of our customers have viewed Tag as just a multi-viewer, and I think there's some room for expansion in some of the accounts that you visited, because we're so much more than that, right? So, what do you think are the most promising next steps in those accounts where maybe Tag is viewed only as a multi-viewer, right?
I'm glad you asked that, Paul. I think from the customers that I'm working with, generally they understand we're more than a multi-viewer now, because we're with them and we're talking about our new features. In the last year alone, we delivered over 200 customer-driven features, and with around 50 technology improvements and integrations on the platform. So the customers that we know, they know what we can do. It's more about some of the customers that, or potential customers that are aware of us because of our history and our legacy, but they don't really know the full gambit of what we can do. But going out to see customers and sitting in front of them and talking to them, it's really valuable, because we get the opportunity to talk about, their problems and their issues. And in those conversations, they normally think about things, and they'll bring up situations where a couple of the customers in this last trip said to us, actually, they've got things on the horizon that they know they're going to need some, not only multi-viewing, but probing, alerting, alarming for a certain project. And they've said to us, oh, let's discuss this. Let's take this, offline. Let's book another meeting and let's circle back around. So, off the back of those meetings, we've got 3 or 4 projects that we need to follow up on. So So I pressed my keyboard. So it's very valuable to have these conversations.
So, what's one thing you learned on this trip that surprised you about the markets, the local markets you're in?
Okay. Well, I think the one thing that surprised me the most was how funny Kevin was, and how engaging he is to our customers. Meetings with Kevin's always fun, and it doesn't matter who's in the room, whether it's the people from the business side or the technology side. He always gets the conversation going and starting. So he's a good ally to have with you when you're seeing customers.
That's great. So, if you had to sum up your biggest lesson from the trip, um, what would that be, and what would you say to our customers around the globe, around the world?
Yeah.
What would you say to them?
Well, I think there's I think I'd like to put that into like 2 lessons, maybe. The first lesson that I learned was that the importance of being present with your customers, talking to them about what they're doing, understanding their pain points, and not just trying to throw the kitchen sink at them. It's actually really figuring out where we can help them and where we can be better. And a couple of times, Kevin said to our customers, if you've got a particular use case and we're not the right fit, but someone else is the right fit, you should definitely go with that. We're not here to take over everything, but we are here to hopefully help some, complex problems. So that's one of my big learnings. The other learning really was how sophisticated some of our customers are, what they can do with the API, and how they can remove, operational complexities with their inventive usage of our platform. So, yeah, really two big takeaways. And the great thing about having these very advanced customers is that they're really happy to share how they've done things. So if we have another customer that's interested in learning how to do that, we can connect our customers, and we really start having a really strong tag community and sharing that knowledge.
Great. Well, Ivan, I just want to thank you for joining me today. Really appreciate it. This has been. I'm glad I was able to uh, talk to you about this the trip you had with Kevin.
Well, Paul, it has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me, and I really enjoyed the conversation.
Cool. Well, that's a wrap on today's episode of Tech Talks. If you found this discussion valuable, don't forget to subscribe and share. See you next time.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.